Have you ever stood up after a peaceful lunch, only to feel like your legs suddenly lost their strength? Maybe they felt shaky, wobbly, or strangely heavy, like they couldn't quite support your body the way they used to. You may have thought to yourself, did I sit too long? Am I just getting old? But here's the truth. If your legs feel weak after eating, it's not just about aging, and it's definitely not something to ignore. This seemingly small issue might be your body's quiet way of saying, pay attention, something's not right. For many people over the age of 60, this strange sense of post-meal leg weakness becomes more frequent with time. And while it's easy to blame it on being tired or eating too much, there are hidden reasons why your legs may be giving out after lunch. And some of them are much more serious than they appear. From sudden drops in blood pressure to blood sugar crashes, poor protein intake, and even undiagnosed circulation or nerve problems. Your legs may be sounding the alarm well before anything shows up on a blood test. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at this surprising phenomenon. Why does it happen? What are the most common and often overlooked causes? And most importantly, what can you do about it to protect your mobility, your energy, and your independence? Because your legs are your foundation. When they start to weaken, even for just a short time after meals, it's a sign that your whole system may be out of balance. But the good news is, with the right knowledge and a few simple adjustments, you can restore that balance and feel strong again. I know you are a person who likes to watch videos quietly. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do it because you are a kind person. If the video is helpful, press 1. If the video is not good enough or needs improvement, press 2. Thanks everyone. Now let's get started. Number 1. Postprandial hypotension. Sudden drop in blood pressure after eating. When Harold, a 73-year-old retired engineer, began experiencing strange episodes of leg weakness after lunch, he brushed them off at first. He would stand up from the table and feel an unsettling wave of lightheadedness, as if the ground beneath him were moving. His legs felt shaky, almost uncooperative, and once he had to sit back down to avoid stumbling. At first he thought maybe he was dehydrated or simply tired, but when the episodes continued to happen, always after eating, he started to worry. After a checkup and some testing, Harold was diagnosed with postprandial hypertension, a condition that causes blood pressure to drop after meals, especially in older adults. Postprandial hypertension happens when the body redirects a large amount of blood to the digestive system to help process food. For younger, healthier people, the body compensates by tightening blood vessels and slightly increasing heart rate to maintain normal blood pressure. But in older adults, especially those with existing blood pressure or nervous system issues, that response can be weakened. The result is a sudden drop in blood pressure after eating, which can lead to dizziness, fainting, confusion, and yes, weakness in the legs. Since blood is flowing to the stomach and intestines instead of the muscles or brain, the legs may feel unsteady, tired, or even tingly. This drop in blood pressure usually begins 30 to 60 minutes after a meal, and it's more likely to happen after larger meals or those high in carbohydrates. Foods like pasta, rice, white bread, and sugary desserts can cause a stronger shift in blood flow, leading to a greater drop in pressure. Add in a glass of wine or a hot drink like tea or coffee, and the effect can become even more dramatic. For some people, the symptoms can be mild and easy to miss, a sense of fatigue or wobbliness in the knees. But for others, it can lead to dangerous falls or even confusion that mimics dementia. Harold learned that he wasn't alone. Many people over 60, especially those with high blood pressure, Parkinson's disease, diabetes, or those taking certain medications like beta blockers or diuretics, are more susceptible to postprandial hypotension. Unfortunately, it's not often discussed during routine checkups, and many seniors go undiagnosed for years, simply adjusting their lives around the symptoms without realizing that there's a medical reason and a solution. So what can you do about it? The good news is that postprandial hypotension can often be managed with simple lifestyle changes. Harold started eating smaller, more frequent meals instead of large ones. He also reduced his intake of refined carbohydrates at lunch, choosing instead high-fiber vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Drinking a glass of water 15 minutes before eating helped maintain his blood pressure. He began waiting a few minutes before standing up after meals, giving his body time to adjust. And when needed, he worked with his doctor to adjust his medications to reduce the risk. Most importantly, he learned to listen to his body's rhythm, recognizing that this wasn't just part of getting old. It was a correctable issue. Within weeks, his post-lunch fatigue improved. His legs felt steadier, his confidence grew, and he no longer feared falling in the middle of the day. If you've been feeling weak or unsteady after meals, especially lunch, it's time to consider whether your blood pressure may be dipping in ways you don't realize. Do you feel more tired in the afternoon? Do your legs feel heavier or harder to move after eating? Do you sometimes feel a little dizzy or foggy when standing up from the table? These might be small signs of something bigger, and they deserve your attention. By understanding how your blood pressure reacts to food, you can take control of your symptoms and protect your independence. Because when your legs grow weak, your whole world can start to feel smaller. But with the right steps, you can stay strong, stable, and confident, one meal at a time. Up next, let's look at another hidden culprit that could be draining your energy and weakening your legs after lunch, even if your blood pressure seems fine: the blood sugar roller coaster. Number 2, poor blood sugar control. The hidden crash after a high-carb lunch. Susan, a 70-year-old retired school teacher, prided herself on eating what she called a sensible lunch, usually a sandwich on white bread, a piece of fruit, and sometimes a cookie or two with her tea. But almost every afternoon, about an hour or two after eating, she found herself struggling. Her legs felt weak, heavy, and unsteady. She often had to sit down, and even short walks felt harder than usual. At first, she assumed she was just tired, but as the pattern repeated, she began to notice something. This sense of leg fatigue always came after lunch, and it hit her like a wave. What Susan was experiencing wasn't just tiredness. It was a blood sugar crash, and it was quietly impacting her strength, stability, and potentially her long-term health. When you eat a meal high in refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, crackers, pastries, sugary drinks, or desserts, your body rapidly breaks those foods down into glucose. This causes your blood sugar to spike, triggering a surge of insulin to bring that sugar back down. But for many older adults, especially those with insulin resistance or prediabetes, the body doesn't respond as efficiently. Insulin may overshoot the mark, causing blood sugar to drop rapidly, sometimes to levels that cause weakness, shakiness, fatigue, and even a sense of anxiety or confusion. The legs, being the largest and most active muscles in the body, often feel the effects first. They can feel like jelly, lack strength, or tire out quickly, even without any exercise. This cycle, known as the blood sugar roller coaster, is incredibly common in people over 60, and most don't even know it's happening. It can occur even if your blood sugar numbers are normal during a checkup, because standard tests often miss the rapid highs and lows that happen between meals. The more this cycle repeats, the more strain it puts on your pancreas, your brain, your energy levels, and yes, your muscles. For Susan, the pattern became clear once she began logging what she ate and how she felt afterward. She noticed that lunches heavy in carbohydrates, even so-called healthy ones like fruit juice and granola bars, were consistently followed by a drop in energy and strength. Her doctor confirmed that she was in the early stages of insulin resistance, which was beginning to affect her metabolism, circulation, and muscular endurance. But the best news? It was reversible. She began making small but powerful changes to her lunch. Instead of sandwiches on white bread, she switched to whole grain wraps with lean protein. Instead of fruit juice, she drank water or green tea. She added a boiled egg, some avocado, or a handful of nuts for healthy fats. And most importantly, she cut back on sugar, even the hidden kinds in flavored yogurts and dressings. Within a few weeks, she noticed her post-lunch crashes began to fade. Her legs felt steadier. Her energy lasted longer into the day. She felt more confident going on afternoon walks without fear of her knees giving out. It's important to understand that your muscles run on fuel, and unstable blood sugar is like giving them gas one minute and cutting it off the next. Over time, this stress can lead to muscle loss, falls, reduced mobility, and increased risk of type 2 diabetes or even cognitive decline. For seniors, managing blood sugar isn't just about avoiding diabetes, it's about preserving your strength and independence. If you feel weak after lunch, especially if it's paired with shakiness, brain fog, or a sudden drop in motivation, don't overlook the possibility that your blood sugar may be swinging. The foods you eat can either support your energy or silently sabotage it. So here's a simple rule. Build your lunch around protein, fiber, and healthy fats. These nutrients slow down digestion, help you avoid sudden spikes, and provide sustained energy that keeps your legs strong and your mind clear. Your plate is your power, and sometimes protecting your legs starts not with your feet, but with your fork. Up next, we'll explore another surprising reason your legs might feel weaker after lunch, especially if your meals are light on protein: muscle starvation. Number 3, insufficient protein intake. Muscles losing fuel. After meals, every afternoon after lunch, Raymond, a 78-year-old retired carpenter, would try to take a short walk around his neighborhood. But lately, something had changed. His legs didn't carry him with the same confidence. They felt weak, a little shaky, and lacking in the power he once took for granted. What baffled him was that he didn't feel this way in the morning. Only after lunch did his legs seem to struggle, as if the meal had drained him rather than nourished him. When he began to track his meals, a pattern emerged. His lunches were light, often a small bowl of soup, a slice of toast, or maybe a few crackers with cheese. Tasty? Yes, but missing something crucial: protein. What Raymond didn't realize was that, meal by meal, his muscles were being deprived of the very building blocks they needed to stay strong. As we age, muscle loss becomes a serious threat to health, independence, and quality of life. After the age of 60, adults can lose up to 1% of their muscle mass per year, and even more if they don't stay active or eat well. This process, known as sarcopenia, happens slowly and quietly. One day you realize you can't walk as far. Then it's harder to stand from a chair. Eventually, simple tasks like getting out of bed or climbing stairs feel like a challenge. And often it begins with something as simple as not getting enough protein, especially at lunch. Protein provides the amino acids your muscles need to repair, grow, and stay functional. But the body doesn't store protein the way it stores fat or carbs. That means each meal is a new opportunity, or a missed one, for your muscles. For older adults, getting 15 to 30 grams of protein per meal is essential to preserving leg strength and balance. Yet lunch is often the meal where protein is forgotten. A slice of toast, a few crackers, or a piece of fruit might fill the stomach temporarily, but they do nothing for muscle maintenance. Over time, this leads to muscle weakness, fatigue, and poor endurance, especially in the legs, which carry the most weight and require the most fuel. Raymond's doctor explained that his lunch habits, while seemingly harmless, were putting his muscles into a state of daily starvation. His body was breaking down more muscle than it was building, and after each low-protein meal, his legs simply didn't have what they needed to function optimally. It wasn't just about calories, it was about the quality of nutrition. Once he started including quality protein at lunch, like grilled chicken, beans, eggs, tofu, or even a protein smoothie, he noticed an immediate difference. His afternoon walks became easier, his legs felt more stable, and perhaps most importantly, his energy and confidence returned. Lack of protein doesn't just affect muscles, it also weakens the immune system, slows healing, and increases the risk of falls, fractures, and hospitalization. For older adults, every fall carries serious consequences. So strengthening your legs isn't just about comfort, it's about safety and survival. If you've ever felt your legs give out or feel drained after lunch, take a moment to look at what you're eating. Are you getting enough high-quality protein? Is your plate supporting your strength or slowly stealing it? A simple change like adding a hard-boiled egg, a scoop of cottage cheese, a piece of grilled fish, or a serving of lentils can make a huge difference. Pair that with some leafy greens and a bit of healthy fat, and you've turned a meal into a tool for independence. Your muscles are waiting. Feed them what they need, not just once a day, but every time you eat. Because in your later years, every step matters, and strong legs start with smart meals. Coming up next, we'll dive into another factor that may be weakening your legs after lunch, one that has nothing to do with food choices and everything to do with how your body redirects blood after you eat. the digestive blood flow shift. Number 4. Digestive blood flow shift. Why your legs lose support. After eating for many years, Linda, a 76-year-old retired nurse, kept a steady routine. She'd enjoy a light lunch, clean up the kitchen, and take a walk around her garden. But lately, that afternoon walk became harder to start. Her legs felt weak, almost rubbery, and she often had to sit and rest before making it outside. What puzzled her most was that she felt fine in the morning and her energy returned by evening. The pattern was always the same. About 30 minutes after lunch, her legs just didn't want to cooperate. It was only after she visited her doctor that she learned the surprising truth. Her blood was doing exactly what it was supposed to, but her body was struggling to adapt. After we eat, especially a full meal like lunch, our body goes through a remarkable process called postprandial blood redistribution. Essentially, the body shifts a significant portion of blood flow away from the muscles and brain and redirects it to the stomach and intestines to help with digestion. This is a perfectly normal response. But in older adults, this shift can have unexpected side effects, particularly if the heart, arteries, or autonomic nervous system can no longer respond as quickly or efficiently as they once did. The result? Less blood and oxygen reaches the legs, and that temporary shortage can make them feel tired, wobbly, or even numb. This shift becomes even more noticeable in seniors because of natural aging in the circulatory system. As arteries become stiffer and the heart pumps less efficiently, the body struggles to quickly redirect blood to where it's needed. So after lunch, when digestion demands more blood, the legs and sometimes the brain end up shortchanged. This can lead to weakness, unsteadiness, and even an increased risk of falls. And it's not just a problem for those with known heart conditions. Even people who feel generally healthy may be silently experiencing these effects. For Linda, it all clicked when she realized her symptoms were worse on days when her lunch was larger or heavier, especially meals with rich sauces, white bread, or creamy desserts. These meals demand more effort from the digestive system, causing a larger diversion of blood away from her legs. Her doctor explained that slower circulation, combined with blood pooling in the digestive tract, was creating a mild but significant temporary deficit in her lower body. Her legs were simply underfueled. So what can be done? Linda began experimenting with smaller, more balanced meals that combine fiber, protein, and healthy fats. Instead of a big sandwich and chips, she'd opt for a bowl of lentil soup and a small side salad. She also made a habit of resting for 20 to 30 minutes after lunch, giving her body time to finish the first stage of digestion before expecting it to walk or exert itself. On days when she needed to be active after lunch, she drank extra water before and during her meal, which helped maintain blood volume and reduce the drop in circulation to her legs. Another important strategy? She learned to avoid standing up quickly right after eating, especially from a low chair or sofa. That rapid movement, combined with reduced blood flow to the legs, was increasing her risk of dizziness and imbalance. Just by standing more slowly, stabilizing herself, and pausing before walking, she avoided several near falls and began to feel more confident again. The digestive blood flow shift is a natural part of how the body works, but in aging bodies, it can reveal hidden weaknesses in circulation and balance. When the legs feel weak after eating, it's not always about food itself. It's about where the blood goes and how fast it returns to the muscles. If your heart or blood vessels are underperforming, even slightly, you may feel it most in the lower body. And right after lunch is when it often shows up. So if you've ever felt like your legs just give out after a meal, or you feel better after sitting still for a while, take that as your cue to listen more closely. Your body may be telling you that your circulation isn't keeping up, and it needs your help. Through better meals, hydration, pacing, and maybe a conversation with your doctor. The good news is that once you understand what's happening, you can work with your body instead of against it. With a few adjustments, Linda was able to enjoy her garden walks again, strong, steady, and supported. Up next, we'll look at a surprisingly common but often overlooked reason. Your legs might feel tired and weak after lunch. Dehydration, even when you don't feel thirsty. Number 5, hidden dehydration. Not enough water before or during lunch. At first glance, Richard, 81, seemed like a picture of discipline. He always had his meals on time, took his medications regularly, and even went for a short walk every afternoon. But one thing always puzzled him. About 45 minutes after lunch, his legs would feel strangely tired, heavy, even shaky. He found himself needing to sit down, not because he was full, but because he was weak. His doctor had ruled out diabetes and his blood pressure seemed fine. But during a routine wellness visit, a nurse asked him, "How much water do you drink before lunch?" Richard paused. Aside from a few sips with his pills in the morning, the answer was almost none. This small realization turned out to be a big clue. What Richard was experiencing wasn't just post-meal fatigue, it was hidden dehydration, and it was robbing his muscles of the strength they needed, especially after eating. As we age, our sense of thirst becomes less reliable. Many seniors simply don't feel thirsty even when their bodies are already mildly dehydrated. Add to that medications like diuretics, blood pressure drugs, or laxatives, and the risk of dehydration becomes even higher. Yet because dehydration often develops slowly and subtly, it's easy to miss until symptoms start appearing, and one of the most overlooked ones is leg weakness. Water plays a critical role in maintaining circulation, oxygen delivery, and muscle function. When you don't have enough fluids in your body, your blood volume drops, and your heart has to work harder to pump blood throughout the body. This becomes especially challenging after a meal, when blood is already being directed to the digestive system. The result? Less blood and oxygen reach your muscles, especially your legs, leading to a sense of fatigue, shakiness, or even a mild feeling of collapse. This effect can mimic other problems like low blood sugar or poor circulation, but the real issue might just be a lack of hydration. Richard's routine had unintentionally made things worse. He took his meds with coffee in the morning, a diuretic, and had a light lunch with no fluids until dinner time. His body was running low on reserves, and by lunchtime, the effects were showing up in his legs. Once he began drinking a full glass of water 30 minutes before lunch and sipping more water during and after his meal, the change was dramatic. His legs felt more stable, and he no longer needed to pause every few steps during his afternoon walks. But hydration isn't just about water, it's also about electrolyte balance. Drinking only plain water, especially in large amounts without food or minerals, can sometimes dilute your sodium and potassium levels, both of which are essential for muscle strength and nerve signaling. That's why including foods rich in electrolytes like bananas, leafy greens, sweet potatoes, and a pinch of sea salt, if your doctor approves, can be very helpful. And for some, a small glass of electrolyte-rich fluids, like coconut water or diluted electrolyte drinks, can be even more effective, particularly in hot weather or after taking medications that increase urination. Another surprising thing? Dehydration can also impact your mental clarity, adding to the feeling of sluggishness and further discouraging movement after meals. When your mind feels foggy and your legs feel weak, it's easy to assume you're just tired. But sometimes it's a sign that your body is thirsty, long before you feel it in your mouth. If your legs often feel tired or unstable after lunch, consider keeping a simple hydration log. Are you drinking at least 6 to 8 cups of water per day, spaced throughout the day, not all at once? Are you pairing that water with mineral-rich foods to keep your body in balance? Do you drink a little before and during lunch, or only after you feel symptoms? The good news is that rehydration can have quick and powerful effects. Within just a few days, Richard noticed improved energy, steadier legs, and even better digestion. A small change, like reaching for water before you reach for your fork, gave him back control over his afternoons. So next time your legs feel like they're giving out after a meal, don't just assume it's age or fatigue. It might be your body's quiet way of asking, "Can I get a little more water, please?" Coming up next, we'll look at another common but rarely discussed cause of muscle fatigue after lunch, electrolyte imbalance, and how the minerals you may be losing could be weakening your legs without you even realizing it. Number 6, electrolyte imbalance, the missing minerals that keep your legs strong. Betty, a 75-year-old grandmother who had always been active, began noticing something strange in the early afternoons. About an hour after lunch, her legs would feel heavy, almost disconnected from the rest of her body. It wasn't just a mild tiredness, it was a deep sense of weakness, like her muscles didn't have the strength to support her. Sometimes she'd even feel a faint twitch in her calf or an odd cramping sensation if she stood too long. She didn't feel dizzy, and she hadn't skipped meals. She drank water throughout the day and thought her diet was fine, but the issue persisted, especially after eating. Eventually, her doctor ran a simple blood panel and found the culprit: low magnesium and borderline low potassium levels. Betty was dealing with an electrolyte imbalance, and it was affecting her muscle function, most noticeably in her legs, and particularly after lunch. Electrolytes are essential minerals: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, that carry electrical signals throughout your body. These signals allow muscles to contract, nerves to fire, and cells to maintain balance. When your electrolytes fall out of sync, even slightly, your muscles pay the price. Weakness, cramping, twitching, and even that jelly leg feeling can all be signs that your body's mineral balance is off. In older adults, electrolyte imbalance is surprisingly common and often goes unnoticed. Many factors contribute to it: age-related changes in kidney function, medications like diuretics and blood pressure pills, low sodium or overly restrictive diets, dehydration, and yes, even certain foods eaten at lunch. A typical senior lunch of soup, crackers, or toast may seem harmless, but if it's low in essential minerals or paired with medications that flush out potassium or magnesium, it can leave your muscles starved for the signals they need to perform. And since lunch is often the time medications are taken, the effect may hit hardest in the hour or two that follows. One key player is potassium, which helps regulate fluid balance, nerve impulses, and muscle contractions. When potassium is low, muscles, especially the large ones in your legs, can feel weak, tired, or even numb. Another is magnesium, which supports energy production and muscle relaxation. A lack of magnesium can cause subtle tremors, feelings of inner restlessness, or leg cramps that strike just as you stand up after eating. Sodium and calcium also play roles in maintaining tone and balance, and deficiencies or imbalances in any of these can lead to leg instability that's misattributed to just aging. In Betty's case, her lunch often consisted of low-sodium soup, a banana, and a small yogurt. While these seemed healthy, the soup lacked adequate minerals, the banana didn't provide enough potassium to replenish what her morning meds had flushed out, and the yogurt, while high in calcium, had very little magnesium. Over time, this mild imbalance weakened her muscle response, and the symptoms grew worse with every passing week. Once she adjusted her diet, with the guidance of her doctor and a nutritionist, things began to change. She added a handful of leafy greens like spinach or kale to her lunch, swapped her low-sodium soup for a homemade version rich in vegetables and herbs, and included pumpkin seeds or almonds as a snack. She also added avocados, sweet potatoes, and even a bit of dark chocolate, in moderation, all rich in magnesium and potassium. Within 2 weeks, she noticed her legs no longer felt like rubber in the afternoon. She could go for her walks without that familiar sense of collapse. She felt more in control and less afraid of losing her strength. It's important to note that over-supplementing electrolytes without medical advice can be harmful, especially for those with kidney or heart conditions. So if you suspect an imbalance, always consult your healthcare provider before adding supplements. In many cases, dietary changes alone are enough to restore balance. If you're feeling leg weakness after lunch and you've ruled out hydration and blood sugar issues, consider whether your electrolytes may be off. Are you taking medications that deplete potassium or magnesium? Are you eating enough whole foods rich in minerals or relying on processed, low-nutrient meals? Are you getting enough fiber and hydration to help your body absorb and use those minerals? Sometimes the smallest imbalances create the biggest problems, but that also means the solution can be beautifully simple. A few thoughtful changes to your lunch, adding more whole foods, mineral-rich vegetables, and a better balance of nutrients could mean the difference between legs that hesitate and legs that carry you forward with strength. Up next, we'll look at a deeper cause. When leg weakness after lunch is more than just food or minerals, it could be the early sign of a hidden nerve or circulation issue waiting to be uncovered. So now that we've explored all the surprising reasons why your legs might feel weak after lunch, what have we learned? We've seen how something as common as a drop in blood pressure after eating, postprandial hypotension, can make your legs feel unstable. We've talked about how blood sugar crashes after a high-carb meal can drain your energy and leave your muscles lacking the fuel they need. We've uncovered the risks of low-protein intake, especially in older adults whose muscles rely on regular nourishment to maintain strength. We've understood how digestive blood flow shifts can steal circulation from your legs, making them feel tired even when you've been sitting still. And we've revealed how hidden issues like dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, and even nerve or circulation problems can all become more obvious right after lunch, if we know how to listen. The message is simple. Feeling weak after eating is not just about getting older. It's your body sending you signals, gentle ones at first. Signals that your heart, your nerves, your muscles, or even your meals might need a closer look. These small changes, especially if they happen regularly, can be the early whispers of bigger health challenges. But the good news is, you have power. You have the ability to listen to your body, adjust your meals, improve your hydration, ask better questions at your next doctor's visit, and take back control of how your legs carry you through the day. You don't have to wait until the weakness turns into a fall, until the tiredness becomes fear, until you avoid going outside because you're not sure if your legs will support you. You can start small, a glass of water before lunch, a little more protein on your plate, standing up slowly after eating, or simply noticing how your legs feel at different times of day. Remember, your legs are not the problem. They're the messenger. And what they're telling you might just be the key to protecting your mobility, your health, and your independence. So the next time you feel your legs weakening after lunch, don't just sit down and accept it. Ask why, observe what's happening, and most importantly, take action. Because every strong step you take tomorrow starts with a smarter choice today. Thanks for being here today. We hope this video gave you something useful or meaningful to take away. If it did, please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We share new content each week focused on healthy aging, wellness, and practical advice for living well. Tap the bell icon so you'll be the first to know when a new video is released. We're glad to have you with us. See you next time.